Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY and Mrs. DIY. Elpida will hopefully join us a little bit later. Today we're going to work on a project that we need. It's an organization project for our house. Mrs. DIY likes to read a lot of books, right? And we're going to try and build some shelves for her to take the books from the amazing organization system that she has now, which is stacking them on the top of the floor, right?
Oh yeah, they're in a big pile on the floor.
So this is the current storage of the books Mrs. DIY uses, and as you can see, it's simply not good enough. We need to do better than this. So today's project will address this issue and ensure we'll take all those books off the floor and display them and arrange them in a much nicer presentation. Alright friends, so just using 2x4 material, we are going to build these wonderful and offset shelves. Today we're only going to build those two, but this can be expanded, as you can see, right? Mm-hmm. We can build around it and we can make another shelf there, and we can go down, we can go more to the side. So while we're starting with two, as Mrs. DIY book collection increases, we can add shelves, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to put a picture here of what can be the finished project, but might take us months to complete, right?
Yep.
But if you get to this point, you can finish the whole wall. So stick around. You're still my favorite viewer, and this is going to be a very fun episode. We're going to try and build some, and we want to do a little more than just a shelf. That's easy. It has been done, right? Everyone has been there, done that. So we're going to try and do something a little bit different. So we're starting with some scrap, but for our long-term vision, we'll probably have to do these projects a couple of times, right?
Yep.
But today we're going to start with this scrap, and we might add more today, we don't know. And two books.
Oops.
Sizes, I guess, of books, right?
Right.
One is the standard novel, the paperback, and you have a lot of those, right?
Yeah, I do.
And this is the tallest of the hardcover books.
Right.
So if we can accommodate this, we can accommodate all the hardcover books. And all we did, we came to one of our scrap and we made a mark to cut this piece so we can accommodate those two dimensions.
Right.
So we're going to start by doing this cut. So our long board has already the edges removed, you know, the roundovers.
Yeah.
We have to do it on our short board. And again, you can see even with those two boards how this almost immediately looks more finished just by removing the roundover.
Definitely. Looks more like furniture.
Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to rip those. So we're going to cut them to length and then we're going to rip them.
Okay.
Excellent, let's start. While we're going to use miters for the corners, you don't have to do that. You can simplify the project by just simply use butt joints and screws, whatever your skill level is. So we're going to start by cutting this to our mark. Again, this cut is not critical as far as precision is concerned because the repeatability, that they are both the same length is the important thing, right? And again, not those two pieces. Those two pieces are not the same length, but when we rip it, they will be the same length.
Right.
So that's the important part.
Yeah, so we're going to put it, yep, just a little bit over.
I think my bag may be full.
The bag?
Yeah.
No, it's not full. It's only to here.
So why did it spit it that much?
It's only to right here.
Okay. It spitted a lot of...
It did spit it a lot of.
So we're marking the approximate middle, and I say approximate because if one piece ends up being a little shorter than the other, we'll just cut it to the shortest piece. It's not critical that we are 100% correct at this point. And now we're going to go and do the cut on the miter saw. I think a little more, honey. You're not going...
This would be more effective if the bag was upside down.
Okay, turn it upside down.
Because it's coming right out here. And
I don't think it would. So our two pieces are just slightly off. See, my nail is catching, but not enough for our purposes to make a real difference, right? And often when you try to take this off, you might end up trying to catch up between the two, right? Making one or the other too short and continue, and then you have like that much of the board. So do not go for perfection, go for functionality. Our next step will be to remove the round over from these pieces, and then we'll start ripping them. Well, we like using this because it keeps our boards nice and secure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I 3D printed this push stick, and that's the first time I'm using it today, so we'll see how it will work.
Maiden
And
voyage.
explain why this is helpful.
Because it keeps our board
Yeah.
tight onto the fence,
Right.
so it prevents it from moving around, and it prevents.
But then on the second cut, why is it useful?
It's the same reason. It keeps.
Yeah, but then on the second
We don't
cut,
have to remark anything.
right, we don't have to remark it because we've cut this off, and then we wouldn't have to readjust because we already know this is at the right spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is this thing called?
No idea.
It's a
I do hickey.
groove holding board clamp.
If anyone knows what this is called, tell us in the diddly down there, right?
And this one is, you know, bright red because we like red tools.
I do love red too.
And I believe this was a gift from Santa.
I don't
Or
remember.
an elf.
An elf, yeah,
Yeah.
one of, yeah. Uh-huh, right?
Okay, are we ready?
Yep, ready.
All right, now we need to do the same for the other side. And then we'll start ripping.
Okay?
Excellent. And now we're going to reset and try and have, we're going to try and rip them, right?
Yep,
We have to rip all four pieces, these small ones and the two big ones.
yep. Fun times.
Fun time. We have to interrupt our project because our table saw blade has stopped moving, so we're going to try and find out. I don't see these gears, they are stripped, so it must be somewhere before them, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did a little bit of surgery on our saw, and we have our blade raised to its highest point, which is important because the 6-inch width is the most we can actually rip, right?
Right.
So hopefully this will allow us to finish the project. Here goes nothing. You can clearly hear the change of the sound that the saw motor makes, and that is an indication that the saw is straining. I reduced my push speed a little bit, but still my blade is in horrible shape, and I should have changed it before I started this. And for some reason I even have a bind. You're going to see me doing something really bizarre. I'm going to back off with the piece instead of move forward. And this is not something I recommend. But you can see here I had a pretty good grip on the piece, and I was able to back it off without any instance there, without any incident. But in general, I avoid to do that. It is not a very good idea to do that. And once you make one cut, you just flip the piece over and you do it again. You can clearly see here that the piece starts to pinch. You can see that the gap on the top is smaller than the gap in the middle, which means that the piece is pinching. But I would have made this cut without difficulties, I believe, had I only had a good blade. I don't know why it's sticking there.
It's because this raised and then this is a little bit lower, and so it catches on this lip. So usually one of us has to lift it in that situation. So
Okay.
I was really curious about you dragging it backwards on the blade.
Because I couldn't pass it through, so it wouldn't cut.
Okay. We're going to do a little bit of sanding on these pieces that we've now ripped, just to clean them up.
This is also something I do not recommend. While I feel comfortable doing it, it is a better idea to do it a safer way. But in any case, you can clearly see here that my blade is actually capped. It does not help making good 45s. And again, as you're going to see the piece passing here, you're going to see how capped my blade is. It starts flush, and then you can see how there is a huge gap there. Overall, it did okay, even with the cap, but it is clearly time for us to get a new blade. This is just not an acceptable way. And really using blunt blades and blunt tools in general makes the work more dangerous. So do not get cheap like I did here. Replace your blades when they're this dull. This is beyond help anymore. And it will be safer to do this using a little different methodology. For example, using a block stop in the end, so you do not have to get the piece both on the blade and on the fence. In general, this is something to be avoided. Let's reset it for the next screw.
So because this is so long, we're going to use the Gazi.
How do you like, okay. How do you guys like our new knob?
We jiggy rigged it.
Did you rig it?
Yeah.
Because this has stripped
And it
this,
doesn't work.
this mechanism.
Because it's plastic. Boss, what
doesn't-
were you thinking?
It
You know?
doesn't turn the metal keyed rod that lifts the blade up and down.
You might be a redneck if you use a pliers,
Lock pliers.
lock pliers to turn your saw blade up and down,
But
right?
you know what? It
What?
worked, and we were able to do what we needed to do with the.
And finish the
the saw.
project today.
Yep, rednecks are us. Excellent. So last time we were using our brad nailer, we had a little bit of difficulty, and as you can see, it's quite dry there, right? So we're going to lubricate it a little bit, or a lot of it. And we're using lithium, that's the important thing, right? You don't want to use a lubricant that attracts dust. We're using the same lubricant we used on the saw, because lithium does not attract dust, but allows for very good lubrication. And now this is ready to use.
Awesome.
So we're applying painter's tape on each side of the on the back side of the joint. Then we're going to make the joint press down so the painter's tape acts as a hinge, right?
Yep.
And then we're going to put glue on one side only, and then we will blind there. There are a lot of vents around there. We're going to do that, and then
we're
that,
gonna
and
do
then
what?
that.
And we're gonna do what?
Yeah.
No, what did you say? And then we're gonna blah 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 blah?
No, I'm going to sponge you.
Well, it blurred into.
I said we're going to put glue, and then we're going to brad nail, not blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead and. All right, do it towards the end, and we can brad nail it.
How many you want?
You need to hold probably 2 or 3. It's easier to have it sideways so we don't slip.
He says, as it slips.
Well, and one in the middle just for good measure. I guess we can turn it around and do the other corner. Is that what you prefer? Okay.
Okay.
And
This is rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
You can put more glue than you did if it's just only on one side. So now we're going to put glue on both the 45s and then put the last piece on top, hold it with tape, and that should finish our assembly. And we're using thick Tide-Bond glue for this project. And thick is good for this project because it does not have a tendency to run.
That's gonna run a little bit. further down.
It's okay, even if it runs a little bit.
Oh. Yeah.
And the glue tried to make me a liar. As I was saying, it will not
Yeah,
run.
I know, right?
All right, so if we lift the piece now, align it the best you can. Okay, this is not instant glue, so we have time. And you might have to press it a little bit to close.
You want to tape that in, and then we can adjust this one a little bit.
Is that a great good corner or?
Okay. Now we've got all 4 of the joints brad nailed and glued. We're going to remove that tape just to make sure if there's any glue bleed out, we'll be able to remove that easily. There's a little piece of painter's tape that didn't want to come off. Now we're going to flip this over.
we're not.
Or not. And these are pretty good darn
Yeah.
joints, right?
It's a really good one. And here is the pieces for the next one. And we're not going to bore you by showing you the identical procedure, right? Painter's tape, close the corners, brad nail. If you don't have brad nails, again,
Glue.
as we saw you, I said glue the corners. If you don't have brad nails, as we showed you in the last couple of episodes, you can use CA glue for the clamping power while your normal glue dries. So it is up to you. We chose brad nails today, but CA glue would have worked the same way. So we made two, and we're going to make much more, because the idea is to make a wall of creation, you know?
Kind of modular.
Right. We can put something like that, and then a smaller one like this, you know, or we can offset them. So we only show you how to build two. We're going to show you the full wall when we create it, but it is not done yet, right?
It's just the same repetitive process, but
Right.
it's the concept you're wanting to demonstrate.
You just make different size boxes. So, you know, like if you put it here and here, or you can put it, you see, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And the idea now is to have a little space between them, right? So they will not touch each other. They will be like a floaty a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
Floating shelf, modular.
Very cool. I like that.
They show the stain pretty nicely, but Mrs. DIY, this is not your normal stain.
No, it isn't. I decided to go a little bit different direction this time. I wanted something a little lighter to kind of lighten up the room. Kind of go with the paint color and the trim. Just on the lighter side. We've got some dark furniture, and I didn't want the room to feel too dark and heavy.
All right. Excellent. It looks like you're almost done, and it shows very nice. This is really beautiful. The wood grain on this is really beautiful.
It's almost like a beachy kind of driftwood feel.
Yep. I like it. So we're going to use these brackets to attach it to our wall, and there is only one slight problem with them. These screws are fine to attach the bracket to our wood, but they're too small for our wall, right? So we're going to change the size to these screws, that they should be able to hit our studs.
Yep.
And the only thing you need to check is make sure that you can easily go through the opening, that your
Right.
screw.
So that you, yeah, because we had to use whatever silver screws we had, and that's the best one I could find that was long enough, and it is successfully going through the hole.
Okay, so we're going to go and we start by attaching the brackets to our shelf. So we're going to set our two brackets 16 inches apart from each other, because that is the traditional distance between studs, right?
Yep.
And we're going to find one stud, and then we're going to attach it to the other. So here, this is our top, if you have a preference of what orientation you have, because we're going to turn it over and attach it on the front so it does not interfere with books as we put them in, right?
Right.
All right, so the next step will be to attach them. So now, like before, we're just making some pilot holes for our screws. And for this, we are actually using an angled driver, because this shelf is just short and a normal driver does not fit. Right, Mrs. DIY?
Right. Oops.
You know, we spare no expense in our channel, and you're going to see the very high-tech way that we move our tools from our shop to where we need them, right, Mrs. DIY?
Yeah.
It is very high-tech. We spend a lot of money, right?
Yep, and hopefully it won't break on me on the way downstairs.
Hopefully it will not.
Oh, that's a heavy shopping bag.
That's all right.
Okay. Bye.
And this is the outcome of our project today. Mrs. DIY, since this is for you, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like it. Definitely can't wait to have more of the components. But this is a great start with just some scrap wood.
Right.
And I'm really pleased with the color and the size and everything.
So this is less than $5, because a 2x6 in our area by 8 is about $9. a little over $8.
Yep.
And this is not even half of a 2x6, so
Right.
by 8. So we could make 2 more out of one board. In our case, this was a remnant, so we didn't pay anything for it. It was scraps, right?
Right.
And there is very high likelihood that as we have scraps, we might continue building this, right?
Oh yeah.
And in the meantime, again, this can work as a display or holding those books that they don't fit there.
Yep.
So, Mrs. DIY, hardest part of the build?
I think, you know, unfortunately, one of the hardest parts for us today was the ripping of the boards. They were really tough boards for some reason, and our saw wasn't really playing nice.
It might not help that my blade has needed to be changed for the last 2 months, right?
Yeah, yeah. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. You know, ripping is pretty straightforward. Taking off the round over is pretty straightforward on the table saw. And then 45-degree angles for the miters, you know, pretty straightforward.
Now, had we bought 4S4 material to build that, you could do that and it will be nice wood, right?
Yeah.
But it will be 3 or 4 times the cost.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you've bought it ready, you're talking about $20, $30, $40 easily.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we save money. We made it exactly as we wanted, right?
Yep. And we chose this kind of a grayish finish, which is something that matches other parts of our home. And it kind of is lighter than our typical espresso stain that we use.
Right. So
So
and
I
it
like-
looks very nice. It brings the
Yeah.
wood out. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to build this from mahogany, right?
No.
Again, this is dimensional lumber. When you look at it, if we haven't told you, you wouldn't know this is dimensional lumber. Right?
Nope.
So, and we had a little difficulty with our saw. So in our next episode, we're going to show you how to fix the problem we had. We ordered the part already. And in our Wednesday, next Wednesday, not next weekend, we're going to show you how to fix that. And what else? There were 2 things that we're going to show them. Do you remember?
Changing the blade.
And changing the blade. So if you want to see a little bit of maintenance, check next Wednesday in 3 days, and you're going to have another episode showing you those 2 things.
Okay.
From Professor DIY and Mrs. DIY, let's build something custom together.